And then, obviously, after all was said and done, so happy for Nkunku. Good to see that reaction from everyone as well. Obviously, he got pretty much the winner. He got that second goal. And here, Neto, disrespect, it needs to end, man. A proper 9 and all over. And all of a sudden, most of his actions make sense. I think that proper 9 is Liam Delap, I think. And then a bit of transfer news from Fabrizio Romano, Jamie Binu, Gittins to Chelsea. Here we go. Deal agreed with the club from Borussia Dortmund, who, of course, are in the tournament still as well. But he's making the move. Big money, and they've got themselves another winger. Interesting stuff. So, Cole Palmer has been a talking point for us in this tournament, and this game was no different. But this time, it was because he lined up in a completely different position. Let's have a look at how they looked on paper, and then once it got moved together. So this is them initially. You can see Palmer on that left-hand side. Once they were in possession, Palmer kind of moved into this more central area. And there's a few changes. We've seen it. I mean, we've seen it a lot with a lot of teams here. That's a shocking box, isn't it? Let's do a better one. There we go. Palmer kind of playing in that half space there on the left-hand side. Cucurella, who in the first game was moving inside, second game moving out wide. Fernandez, who's been in the middle, he's been on the left. Neto, who's been on the right, he's been on the left. So many different changes. And Lavia and Caicedo, who've been playing as a double pivot in this one as well. There's been lots and lots of changes. But the big one was about Cole Palmer. It was an interesting one to see him on that side. Is it one that you felt worked, Jules?
I thought it was really interesting because, as you said, we've been seeing him on the right, in the centre, on the left. I mean, John Obi Mikel on our show before was saying like he should not play wide. And he didn't really play wide in a game because, as you explained, he played in the half space on the left-hand side, which still makes him quite a lot involved in a lot of things that Chelsea did well. And if we have a look at the clip and how they played with the ball and without the ball, you see a better idea of what his role was really. And then I think Niamh is going to talk about him in more details. But really, on the pitch, it was him being inside between the lines and with Enzo on the other side in support really of the Lab, who was playing as a number 9.
Yeah.
For those angle of passes from Lavia on one side. And you see the back three with Reece James coming inside, the double pivot that you just mentioned, Lavia, Caicedo, and then that line of 4 with the width coming from Cucurella on the bottom of your screen and Neto on the right, and then Enzo and Palmer in those half spaces. And those half spaces are good because you play between the lines, basically. And if the pass can find you, as you can see, well between the lines of 3 and 2 there from Benfica, then you can turn and you're in front of the goal. And they've done that a lot when they had the ball in the just before we stopped for the break, really. And out of position, it was pretty much a 4-2-3-1 formation to go and press. But you see how aggressive they are. Colville following Pavlidis really high on that page. We see Badiashile doing it now as well and trying to go for the ball and pushing Benfica back. And Benfica really never got into the game, and they were lucky to get into extra time. But they were never able to develop their game because Chelsea were pressing them really well and keep putting them back into their own half.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Palmer in a bit more detail in a second. But so the shape was that little bit different. Niamh, there was someone that caught your eye in this game, Caicedo, who has played a lot of minutes this season. And in terms of his reputation, initially sort of struggling with that high price tag, he's come in and he was really, really impressive in this game for you, wasn't he?
Yeah, in this game and for quite a long time. And I think this game just summarised what he's all about. Because we've seen that Maresca wants Chelsea to suffocate teams and play in the opposition half as much as possible. It doesn't want transitions, having to defend, running back. So what you need is a player like Caicedo and Lavia too, who is basically going to be in the right position all the time and can put out those fires before it turns into something a bit more dangerous. You see there again. You don't maybe often see him on your TV screen when you're watching it, but just know he'll be in the position where the ball will end up going and he will stop an attack. And he'll also recycle the ball straight away forward. And I think both him and Lavia, a really underrated aspect of their game is their ability to just make line-breaking passes like that. Because they make it like it's nothing and they do it so regularly, I think we think it's easier than it is.
Yeah, it's so great having you on the show, Niamh, because those little subtle players, you sort of find the subtle players a lot of the time. And with Caicedo, over 100 touches in this game, you know, maybe not the sort of the key passes or an assist, but just getting it and playing it forward. I think if Delap maybe has a better day today, actually those forward passes make a much bigger difference for Chelsea. Let's talk about Cole Palmer then, Lies, because he was on this left-hand side instead of the right-hand side, and we did wonder if that would work for him. It sort of did, and it sort of didn't. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I think you basically summed it up perfectly. It's very interesting with Cole Palmer because we spoke last time about, I think Chelsea need to give him a bit more liberty, a bit more freedom to kind of express himself. And they played him off the left today, and you can see that this does kind of unlock a different side to Cole Palmer's game that we don't get to see as much. He's very good at kind of getting on his left, shifting out wide and getting a cross out of his feet or sending Cucurella through. He did that quite a few times. I think his partnership with Cucurella was quite underrated. However, I don't know if I'm maybe being a little critical about Cole Palmer here, but I do feel like him playing at these angles all of the time kind of does limit what he can do. He's not playing inside because he's so predominantly left-footed. I think with Cole Palmer, he's shown you over the last few years that you get him closer to goal, cutting in off the right on his left foot, he can be such a threat when it comes to production, when it comes to scoring goals, creating chances. And I wouldn't say he played a bad game whatsoever today. Again, he played some delightful crosses that on a different day, Delap might have got the end of. But I think this is the perfect example right here. A player who's a bit more two-footed or a bit more right-footed finds Enzo, maybe cuts back, gets the move, getting more to the right. With him, you know when he's on his left, he's only going to go down the outside. And at times it worked, but I think Benfica kind of figured him out later on.
Yeah.
Can you see a rationale from Maresca in maybe not always playing Palmer to suit Palmer, but to suit the team? So he might not look like he's as good, but he's fulfilling a role. Like today, sort of facilitated a lot of Cucurella.
I think I don't mind that mindset with other players, but I think a player of Cole Palmer's quality can't be sacrificed for the strength of others. I think other players should be sacrificed for the strength of Cole Palmer. And I'm going to make a crazy comparison here because I don't think Cole Palmer's anywhere as good as this player. But Lionel Messi, you would never ask Lionel Messi to play off the left to suit the team's needs because he is your primary source of goals and creativity. So I think with Cole Palmer, you have to find a way of getting the best out of him, even if it means maybe Pedro Neto is doing that job or Cucurella. I'm seeing Cole Palmer feed Cucurella for chances. In no world, in my opinion, should that be happening.
OK, so let's ask someone who knows about being a winger and cutting inside. He made a wonderful career of it. Andros Townsend, who was doing the co-coms today, joins us now. You've had a hell of a day. Andros, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us. We really appreciate it. First of all, are you safe? Is there any sort of lightning that struck you? Tell us about what has occurred for you in this last couple of hours.
Oh, the last day has been a crazy. Last night our flight got cancelled because of storms. This morning it got delayed because of storms. We land in Charlotte. My suitcase doesn't arrive, so I wait an hour. I have to rush back to my hotel, throw on some dirty clothes, and just managed to get to the game in time for kickoff. And of course, when you're having a long day, a 2-hour storm delay and extra time. It was always going to happen.
And what was the sort of the feeling? What was going on there? What was everyone chatting about? Where were you? Were you just up in the gods of the gantry, or were you able to come down? What happened there?
No, luckily we had our own sort of commentary booth, so we had our own room. So we were chilling, waiting for official news, looking outside for any lightning storms, because that means if you see lightning, it's another 13-minute delay before the teams can come out and warm up. So it was a unique experience.
So let's talk about the football then, shall we? Because as a winger yourself, this is a Chelsea side that likes its wingers and likes them to sort of stay wide. And they've just signed another one in Gittins today. But Cole Palmer, I wanted to speak about his role because he's someone who kind of normally plays on the right-hand side as a left footer. Obviously, he was on the left-hand side this time. How did you find he did? Did you think this was a better version of Chelsea and one that could work for the future?
I was shocked to see him on the left-hand side because as a winger, when you're not blisteringly quick like a Pedro Neto, it can be difficult to play on your natural side. So I feared for him, but I think his role today, he was Robin as opposed to what he's used to, which is Batman. But he still did his job for the team. He still got in the half spaces. He still got turned. He still linked up well with Cucurella. He still put a couple of great balls into the box in the first half. So even though he wasn't central to everything Chelsea did, he still more than played his part in this game.
And Andros, the one we were discussing here as well, and maybe ran a bit of time a little bit, was Enzo Fernandez. Again, on that half space as well on the right-hand side for him. We've been discussing through the whole tournament, really, what's his best position? Where should he play? Deeper, higher up, on the right, on the left, centrally? And he feels that all the time. We look at him and say, this is not enough from a player like him.
Yeah, as a winger myself who's played in those half spaces, I prefer Enzo Fernandez deeper because he's the best passer of the ball Chelsea have got in their team. He's the player that's always playing forward. He can rack it between the lines. So I would rather him as a number 6, feeding the ball into a Cole Palmer or into a Dewsbury or whoever plays there. So, yeah, this sort of advanced position does surprise me because I don't think, even though he played well, I don't think it suits his qualities to a T. I think he's better playing the pass as opposed to receiving it.
Agreed.
And there's another winger, as I said. There's a lot of wingers knocking about. Esteval's on his way as well. How does that work in the dressing room? Is it, how is that going to work in terms of, is one person going to get 60 minutes, then 30 minutes? Someone's going to get unhappy here. Would you be concerned about the sort of, the dressing room and the environment there for this Chelsea side, especially after they've kind of grown as a group so much over the last year?
Yeah, it's difficult. And you saw Madueke. I don't know if he was carrying injury, but he didn't come on at all. It can be tough because as a winger, you need to be playing. You need to feel love to be able to fully express yourself. If you're in and out, you feel the manager don't love you. You can't be as confident, or you're not as confident going into those 1v1 duels. You end up playing a bit safe. Your first touch is backwards instead of forwards, driving at the defender. So it can be tough when the manager's constantly rotating all the time. With another winger signing, like you said, it's only going to get more difficult for Maresca to get the most out of his wingers.
Andros, is there a sign over your right shoulder? What's that sign there?
Oh, I've just found a quiet... I'm on the way home.
I don't want to get you in trouble, Andros. You've had a long day as it is. No loitering. You've been, it's clear as day there. You've had a long day, mate. Well done. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us. And we'll let you go. Get a shower, get some new clothes, get yourself sorted out. Good man.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
Okay. So, that was half the drama was the first 86 minutes, and then, of course, everything happened. And then it really kicked off. Chelsea had one big chance in the first 86 minutes. They had 4 after that. But before that, they conceded a goal, of course, to Angel Di Maria. I want to say rolling back the years, but it's 4 penalties. He's currently the top scorer in the competition. And I think we can see those goals now, starting with Angel Di Maria. Leah's... Oh, this is, the winner from Nkunku here. So Di Maria scores a penalty. You're not missing too much there, don't worry. But Nkunku here, it's really clever finish, isn't it, Jules?
Yeah, and I'm super happy for him because he's had a tough time, really, let's be honest. Here's him and Otamendi going for it. He gets up very quickly, finishes it like that, and I think he deserved a little bit of luck in his Chelsea career.
And then Di Maria, sadly, giving the ball away there. And then the floodgates opened, didn't they, Neve? Yeah,
and again, Caicedo there with the quick movement forward to recycle the ball and attack quickly and punish Benfica.
Absolutely. And last but not least, Dewsbury Hall, as you can see, of course, they're down to 10 men as well. Had a man sent off. They were pushing, and they did actually have a couple of chances when it was still 2-1, didn't they, Liz?
Absolutely. Di Maria, threw on goal a few times, but I think the lack of pace really letting him down. Di Maria has been a wonderful player in Europe, but I think it's apparent, to be honest, why this was his last game playing for Benfica.
Yes. So let's have a look at the bracket with the round of 16 matchups. Of course, we've had 2 today. And we will have the Esteval derby, Palmeiras against Chelsea in that next one. Let's start there. How do you feel about that one? Do you feel like Palmeiras have got a